My grandmother kept two things by the kitchen sink all winter long: a jar of oil, thick and pale yellow, and a small box of baking soda, the same plain box you probably have in your cupboard right now. She used them on her hands, cracked from the cold, cracked from the wash water, cracked from years of work that never seemed to end. Every night, before bed, she would warm a little oil between her palms, work it in slow, and that was that. No ceremony to it, no miracle in her voice when she did it. Just a tired woman taking care of her own hands, the way her own mother had shown her, plain and unhurried. I want to talk about that jar today. Castor oil and baking soda. You have probably seen videos about this pairing by now. Maybe one even brought you here to me. They are everywhere right now, and they are making some very big promises. Bone spurs dissolving away, toxins draining out through your armpits, 19 different health problems gone with one simple paste from your kitchen. I am not going to tell you that. I respect you far too much for that. What I want to do instead is something simpler, something slower. I want to tell you what this oil and this powder were actually used for, in the plain, ordinary way our elders used them, long before any of this had a camera pointed at it. And I want to gently set aside the parts that got added on the way to your screen. Because somewhere between my grandmother's kitchen sink and the videos you are watching now, a quiet skin softening habit turned into something it was never meant to be. Something bigger than it ever was. Stay with me a while. We will get to all of it, slowly, the way these things deserve. No rushing, no big reveal in the first minute. Just a kitchen, a jar, and a little honesty between us. Here is what I noticed, watching some of these videos myself. Each one starts small enough. A little oil, a little soda, mixed into a paste. Simple, almost humble. But then the list starts growing, the way these lists always do. Skin first, then joints. Then it is your digestion. Then it is fungus on your feet. Then it is the lymph nodes under your arms, draining out toxins that nobody has actually shown you, that nobody can show you. Then wrinkles, then sunburn, then your sinuses, then even your gums. By the end of the video, there is almost nothing this little paste does not claim to touch. I sat with that for a while, turning it over, because that is not how the old remedies worked, the ones I was given. The ones passed down to me were small and specific, never sweeping. A salve for dry skin and nothing more. A wrap for a sore muscle after a hard day's work meant only for that, and nothing else besides. Nobody handed down a single jar and called it the answer to everything the body could ever do wrong. That kind of claim does not come from a grandmother's kitchen. It comes from somewhere else entirely. Somewhere that needed you to keep watching a little longer, to stay a little longer, to believe a little more than was true. I think part of what makes a claim like that work on us is the shape of it. It sounds old. It sounds like something whispered across generations, tested by time, proven by people who had nothing but their own hands and the plants and minerals around them. And there is real wisdom in that kind of knowledge, plenty of it. But wisdom like that was always narrow and earned. It did not promise everything. It promised one small thing, reliably, and people trusted it because it never overreached. The moment a remedy claims to do 19 different things at once, that is usually the moment it has stopped being old wisdom and started being something else, dressed up to look like it. So before I tell you how to use this paste, I want to be honest with you about something plain. Castor oil is thick. It sits on the skin and slows down how fast that skin loses water. That is what a heavy oil does, and it has always done just that. It does not go searching through your body for old injuries. It does not know where your bone spurs are, and even if it did, it could not reach them through skin and muscle and bone. Baking soda is mildly abrasive when you rub it against skin. That is what lets it lift away a little dead skin from the surface. Nothing more. That is the whole trick to it. The whole secret, if you want to call it that. There is no deeper layer hiding underneath, waiting to be unlocked. I am not saying these two things are useless to you. I am saying they are exactly as useful as they sound, plain and simple, and not one bit more than that. So let's talk about what they are actually good for, plainly, the way my grandmother would have told you herself, sitting across from you at her table. Castor oil is a good, heavy moisturizer, and that is no small thing. If your heels are cracked, if your knuckles are dry and splitting in the cold months, a little castor oil worked in at night, under socks or gloves, can soften that skin by morning. That is not a guess on my part. That is simply what thick oils do for dry skin, And people have leaned on oils like this for a very long time, long before bottles and labels and videos existed at all, back when a jar was just a jar. Baking soda, used gently and rarely, can help lift away rough, flaky skin on those same dry patches. Not every day, though, and this matters. Baking soda is alkaline, and too much of it, used too often, can leave skin irritated rather than smoother, can undo the very thing you were hoping for. A small pinch, mixed into the oil, once or twice in a week, kept to tough spots like heels or elbows. That is the whole remedy. That is all it ever truly was, underneath everything added to it since. Here, let me show you plainly. 1 spoon of the oil, a small pinch of the soda, no more. Mix together until it turns smooth, not gritty against the skin. Work gently into the dry spot, left to sit a few minutes, then wiped away with a warm cloth. That's it. That's the whole of it. No mystery ingredient hidden inside. No hidden chemistry at work behind the scenes. Just an old modest habit for keeping skin soft through hard, dry seasons. Nothing grander than that. What it will not do is reach a joint, or dissolve a bone, or pull poison out through your lymph nodes, or cure a fungal infection growing quietly under a nail. Those are real problems, real and worth taking seriously, and they deserve real attention from someone trained to give it. Not a kitchen paste being asked to do far more than any oil ever could. I understand the pull towards something like this. I really do, more than you might think. There is something good, something honest, in wanting to care for your own body with your own 2 hands. Wanting an answer that does not come from a clinic, that costs you nothing but a little time, that you can reach for tonight instead of waiting weeks on an appointment that may or may not tell you much. That wanting in you is not foolish at all. It comes from a good place, a place worth honoring. My grandmother taught me to care for my own hands, my own dry skin, my own small everyday aches, the ones that come and go with the seasons. But she also taught me something else. Just as carefully, just as often, maybe more often, she taught me when a thing was beyond what her jar could ever do. A deep pain that never eased no matter how much rest you gave it. A wound that would not close on its own, no matter how gently you tended it. A lump that had not been there the season before, that worried her quietly. She did not reach for more oil in those moments. She went and found someone who could look closely, with trained eyes, and tell her plainly what was actually happening inside her. That was the whole teaching, really, when I look back on it now, all these years later. Not do everything yourself, always, no matter what. But know your own 2 hands well, and know their limits, too, just as well. One without the other was never how any of it truly worked. Not for her, not for the ones before her. The old remedies were never meant to replace looking a real problem straight in the eye. They sat alongside that kind of care, gently, for the small, ordinary things that skin and hands deal with every single day of an ordinary life. Nothing more demanding than that. I think that balance is what gets lost the most in these videos, more than anything else in them. They take the small, true part, a soft and gentle home habit, and they stretch it until it covers everything, until it quietly replaces the part where you go and let someone else look. That stretching is the real harm in it, more than the paste itself ever could be. Not because castor oil will hurt you if you use it kindly on dry skin. It will not, but because someone, somewhere, with a real and worsening problem might watch a video like that and decide to wait a little longer before calling anyone, might decide the jar by the sink is enough when it never was meant to carry that kind of weight. So here's what I would leave you with today, plainly, with no big claims attached to any of it. Castor oil and baking soda, mixed with a little care and not too much hurry, can help soften rough, dry skin. Heels, elbows, tired hands at the end of a long week of work. Use it gently, the way it was always meant to be used. Use the soda rarely, since leaning on it too often can leave skin worse instead of better, can undo the softening you were after in the first place. It is not a treatment for arthritis, however it is described online. It will not dissolve a bone spur sitting quietly in your foot. It will not draw any toxins from anywhere at all in your body. If something inside you is paining you, or swelling, or simply not sitting right these days, that calls for a person trained to look closely at it. Not a paste from your cupboard? Not another video promising more than it can give. A real person, with real trained eyes on you, who can tell you the truth of it. Next time, I want to sit with you a while longer and talk about what my grandmother actually reached for when her own joints ached in the cold winter months, and why it was never just one thing kept in a single jar by the sink, There was always more than one helper in her kitchen, and more than one kind of patience behind each one. Stay close, so you don't miss it when it comes. What the land gave freely, we are only now, slowly, learning to receive it honestly again, and to ask no more of it than it ever truly offered us in the first place.